guys, Riley the Nerd here, and if you remember in my last video, I did mention something. Working with Articulation, that's a little tease for what's coming up next. Next review, stay tuned. Now you're probably saying to yourself, Riley, I don't speak Italian, and what the hell does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what that means. That means today we're going to be taking a look at MicroBot 2.0. Now, if you're wondering, or you're probably saying to yourself, why are we taking a look at Transformers Lego OC, basically, or Mock, whatever. Now, if you remember, I made a video about 2 to 3 months ago about showing off my kind of gateway into Lego Transformer Mocks again. Now, I used to make Transformer Lego Mocks all the time when I was younger, but they were never great. They were always just bricks on top of bricks, and they never actually transformed. They mostly involved me tearing them apart and trying to build them back together and memorizing the sort of instructions, if you will. Now, this one over here, MicroBot, was kind of the gateway into Lego OC, Lego Transformer OC / Mocks. I'm going back and forth, but you get the picture. But basically, I just really wanted to make Lego Mocks again. And so MicroBot was kind of the leading path, so to speak, to Lego Mocks. And then after MicroBot, I just never made a Transformer Mock again. And I just kind of forgot about him. I mean, I did make an animation of him and one video, but that was it. But now, looking back on him, I was very, very unhappy with him, honestly. I was not that proud of him. I mean, before I was very proud of him, mostly because of the concept. I mean, a Transformer that transforms into a microwave, that's pretty unique. I'll give it that. But the actual transforming process was not that great. I was very unhappy with it, and I think I could have done better. And ever since then, I've been looking to my shelf, and I see him on that third shelf when I'm sleeping, and I'm like, I could have done so much better with you. And then, you know what, I was like, you know what, screw it, let me just remake him and make him better transformable and a lot more, I guess, transformable. There's a lot of transforms here, transforming him into robot and transforming him back into microwave mode. Now, basically, if you have seen that video and you basically mentally memorized what he looks like, you would probably think that this guy looks a little bit different, which he does. The only things that I've actually kept from the original model, so to speak, is this microwave door here, and let me just flip this open here. Flip this open, and this entire section here. Everything else is revamped and renewed, basically, except for this section here, but we'll get to that later. Everything else is brand new, from the transforming process to the actual details itself. Now, I made him a little bit thicker, and I know that he's not completely a solid color, which I don't organize my Lego pieces, which I probably should, because I have OCD, so that's going to drive me nuts later. But, I mean, I've been looking at my Lego bin for, like, the past, 20 million years, and I haven't got triggered over it. But I get triggered everything else, but Lego is perfectly fine. But I wish I could have found more pieces that are actually, black and one solid color, but right now it doesn't really look that great on top. But everything else, I made him a lot more thicker. He was a lot more flat. He only had like a couple of bricks on the back here, but I made him a lot more thicker and a lot more cube-like. And the back here is, I was extremely unhappy with the back of MicroBot on the first model, because if you look back on it, like, what the hell was I thinking? Why did I think that was a good idea? Because that was a horrible transforming process, and there was so much kibble, and it didn't even work. It didn't even conceal the legs. I tried to cover up the head, so to speak, but the legs are just dangling there like a sore thumb. Like, what the hell is it? Why was I thinking? So I decided to come up with this genius process of making the actual feet fold up and making the top of the microwave a little bit rounded here. Now, they don't touch the actual bottom here completely well, because, I don't have a lot more pieces, but I feel like it gets the job done, and it gets the idea and the point across, and especially with the head here. The head was also kind of bothering me as well, because it was sticking up too far, in my opinion. So there's no way I could possibly get into the middle and actually fold up, because that's just physically impossible for Lego. I mean, there is some processes that you could do, but that involves with, a lot more calculation. which this figure has a lot of calculation that went into it, but I'm not that smart to actually engineer that it can get in the middle and actually fold up without snapping in half. So there's no possible way, but I feel like it gets the point across, and it gets, it conceals the head a little bit more. And I feel like also coming to the back here, I feel like I also did a pretty good job of actually making the back a lot more smoothed out and a lot less kibble-less, because like I said, legs just dangling there and the head was just sticking out, but it gets the point across. On the back here, I made the actual door handle a lot more wide, because before it was just really short and it didn't even conceal the inside of the microwave very well. This doesn't really do a good job. But if you're wondering why did I not just make, take a brick or a slab that's like, basically the same width or longer to conceal the inside of the microwave? Well, first off, because I couldn't find a brick, and also because I wanted to keep, I wanted to make it look like this is MicroBot, because this front here is basically that just screams MicroBot. It's a very classic look for him. So that's what I wanted to. I just wanted to leave some of the parts from that original model on here, so it looks very nice and very clean. And putting him down like that, it doesn't look very great unless you're looking at it from the dead on. Then it looks kind of okay, but everything else, especially if you're looking like flat on a shelf, it just doesn't look that great. But transforming wise, I think I did a pretty good job of trying to make all the parts transform really nicely. Now, there are some parts forming in this figure, so there's no possible way that I can, try to transform him without parts forming. It's just physically impossible, but I know there are some professional mock builders out there that can get away or kind of conceal some of the parts forming, or not, make it not parts forming at all. So if there are some professional Transformer Lego mock builders out there, you have my full permission to remake MicroBot in your own style without parts forming, or do whatever you want to do. You have my full permission. But to transform him, you want to fold out the head here, and I will get to more details about how I changed some of the parts, but until then, we're just going to transform him. So you want to fold out the head like I did there. Then you want to flip up the feet there. And of course it snaps off. This is no action figure here. I keep forgetting that. I'm transforming like I'm actually trying to transform a goddamn actual action figure transformer here. Now, for the arms here, we're going to need my trusty parts former. So we're going to use trusty parts former here to get the arms out. Okay. Oh, there goes his head. Okay. This is going to be a mess. I don't want this to be a mess. I want this to be professional as possible. God damn it. Listen to me. I am your god. Yes, there we go. Please. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Okay, back here. There we go. Then you just want to pop that off. That's not parts forming, okay? I'm just trying to do something here. And what you want to do is that you want to... Oh, don't do that. That's the wrong thing. There we go. Put that back on. This is just a mess. I'm so sorry. I was trying to, like I said, trying to make this professional as possible, but with Lego, it's basically impossible for you to make it possible. There we go. Where's his head? Okay, put his head back on. We want your head to be stayed on. Yet again with the other side with the parts former. Not parts former, parts separator. Oh my god, or brick separator. I don't know why I said parts former back there when I introduced it. And we're not done yet because we actually have some parts forming here. The hands here, there's no possible way that I can make him into a cube with these actual little hands here. Okay, so that transforming process was a little bit chaotic, okay? So I apologize for making it seem like I had no idea what I was doing and just, tearing it apart and putting it back together. But like I said, with Lego, it's kind of hard to transform without breaking it. But let me have this moment, please, for the love of God. Now, here we have MicroBot 2.0 and his robot mode 2.0. Now, if you if you know MicroBot well, or his robot mode really well, you would know that there is some differences. Most notably, the actual... Stay up there. Stay. Sorry. Just had to do some background here. It's starting to fall, and I want that to stay up. Stay up now. As I was saying, there are some notable differences, especially with the chest area. Like I said before, I made the actual body a lot more thicker, so it stands out a little bit more. And since his legs are so close to the bottom here, he's a little bit stubby. And he's a lot more thicker in the body area. Oh my God! I just chopped off his arm there. But yeah, he's a lot more to the ground. I don't know how to pronounce it. He's a midget, basically. He's very small. But everything else is basically the same, especially with, the arms here. The arms are a little bit less articulated than they were before. And the head is a little bit far back, but that's okay. Now, speaking of differences, the actual neck here, this part of the head was actually connected to like a little, kind of, I don't really know what to call it, but, it was up there, but it came off way too easy. It made the head pop off way too easily, and it made the neck a little bit too tall for me. So I didn't like that, so I made his neck shrink a little bit. But I kept basically the same shape of his head with the round bits and the barrel droid head, and the binocular eyes and all that stuff. Now coming to here, since the door is a lot more, longer than before, so he actually has an actual shield now, somewhat. So that's what his door is supposed to be, by the way. His door is supposed to be a shield. So now, since it's a lot more wide, it can actually get the point across that it is an actual shield. Pops off a little too easily. Now coming to the arms here. The arms are basically the same, especially with the little hands here. They're the same as well. But for articulation-wise, a lot more has changed. Everything in the head is basically still the same, especially, with the neck. So it can swivel 360. You have an actual hinge joint at the neck, and his eyes can rotate as well. And you have a hinge joint at the base of the head. But it's not really count as neck articulation. It's just for transformation-wise, so I don't really count that. For the arms are a little bit limited. They have a rotation there, 360, obviously, and you have a hinge joint there, which makes this entire arm section here in and out movement. Before it kind of had a bend at the elbow, kind of. But here, there's no bend at the elbow, and the hands here, they're on a swivel as well, so they can rotate. For the legs, they are on a ball joint like before, so, you can get some more things, but he can kick forward, not at all, because it just blocks it, but it can move up. He can kick. And the base of the foot here is on a hinge joint, and I've also, made the, because I did, his legs were also miscolored as well, and I didn't like that. This leg here was like mossy green or vomit green, whatever, and it just didn't look that great, but it was the only part I had in hand, but I'm glad that I got rid of that because it was very distracting. For this arm over here, same articulation, but for the shield here is on a hinge joint, so you have a hinge joint here, and it can also, move up. It can also move up and down as well. Now, articulation is basically kind of the same, but with a few more design features that make the articulation just a little bit more different than before. Now, for accessories are pretty much the same that I included before, especially with this little soup bowl here. There's no actual soup in it this time. I don't know where it went, but it vanished from the ether. Who knows who ate the soup, but whatever. But, it can still kind of fit in there like before, and the lid can still hold it in place. But that's pretty much it. And he does have this classic little blaster there, which can in fact still plug into his hand there. And that kind of gives him, he's ready for battle and stuff like that. So that is MicroBot 2.0. So I'm glad that I rebuilt MicroBot because I was very unhappy, like I said, but I still love the concept, but I was still very unhappy for the transformation and stuff like that. So I'm glad that I rebuilt him, and I'm glad that I'm starting to get back into Transformer mocks before. Now, the next review possibly will be another Transformer mock, so stay tuned for that. And it's also going to be a very old one. It's not going to be it's going to be a very old one that I used to do on my channel. And it was a old, very, very old review, and it was very terrible. So I decided to remake him as well. So you guess you can call it 2.0, but stay tuned for that video. I don't want to spoil too much of that video, but just want to let you heads up that there is going to be a next Transformer Lego mock review, so just stay tuned. But other than that, that's about it for today. That's about it. You like, comment, subscribe. I don't care what you do, but you guys know what time it is. So, bye guys.